What's going on, faves? It's your fave, Miss Renee. You guys, I am back at it again for another edition of Good Food for Your Soul. Tonight, you guys, we're talking about that part 2, right? We've already done the first part, which is how to break a negative or a toxic soul tie. So tonight, we're going to really back in and go before the relationship, right? So this would be preventive, right? So we're talking about how to even avoid a negative toxic relationship. What are some of the dating family? So if you are new here to the Fave Miss Renee channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you are a returning viewer or if you have someone that has not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button right now before you forget, okay? And turn that bell notification on. That way we'll always stay in touch, okay? If we've been rocking and rolling for a while, you know I love you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming into the family. And I know you know that the love is real here. So, now, if you're catching this by way of audio from Envision Radio, welcome to you as well. So, we do a lot of things here on the Famous Renee channel. I don't like to be boxed in. I do a lot of lifestyles. I do vlogs. I do go to work with me's. I do product reviews. I like to do a lot of things. But the one thing that I absolutely love to do is share wisdom and knowledge with my faves here. So we do a conversation called Good Food for Your Soul. Good Food for Your Soul simply means we talk, I talk, we share, okay? A conversation based on love, life, relationships, mindfulness, and everything that's good for your soul. So we are rich with knowledge and wisdom, and we share in the comment sections. Sometimes my faves and sometimes my fellow YouTubers will also chime in, and I love that. So we're all going and growing here together. So our last video was all about breaking toxic soul ties. And this video is going to act as a part 2, but only in a preventive mode. So we know how to release ourselves from a negative soul tie. But what if we knew how to avoid them altogether? Like, what if I knew early on when someone was being negative and I needed to, kind of bob and weave out of that? Most importantly, right? The first thing I want to ask you, well, let me go back. Are you ready to date? Are you ready? I know, right? When you're single, you think you're automatically ready. But sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're single doesn't mean you should be looking. Sometimes you should be working on yourself, right? Because this video is all about low-hanging fruits. Oh my goodness. And the word for the day is, and it too is in 2 parts. Don't you be low-hanging fruit, and don't you pick from low-hanging fruit. Did you get that? Let me say it again. Don't you dare be low-hanging fruit, and don't you pick from low-hanging fruit. Let that simmer. Now, what does fave mean when I talk about low-hanging fruit? What does that really mean? So I've heard so many different versions of this story about the apples that are ripe and firm and delicious and red. And those apples are at the top of the tree, right? And then you have the other apples that are old, some are rotten, some have worms in them, some are just barely hanging on to the branch. Some of them are almost dead and they're on the ground, right? So then you have these little people and they want some of the fruit from the tree. But they look up and they look at those bright, juicy, red, delicious apples at the top of the tree. And they say, those look really, really good. But they're so far high up on that tree, I don't feel like going to get those apples. But these apples down here at the lower bottom part of the tree, they look okay. I mean, you might have to cut some of the rotten pieces out, and you may have to throw some of them away that have worms in them, but they're okay. So the people that don't really want to work for you, that don't really want to show themselves approved, that they are capable, right? And that they are ready for something delicious and juicy like those golden apples at the top, those bright red juicy apples at the top. Guess what? If they don't feel like they can go there, that you're worth it, that having that apple is really going to satisfy them and make them happy. If people want you, deserve you, they'll climb that tree. They will. They'll go all the way to the top because you're worth it. Because they know how awesome and wonderful you really are. You got those people that just kind of skate through life and pick up the bad, rotten apples. And one, you don't want to lower your standards to where you're down at the lowest part of the tree where the rotten apples are. No, ma'am. No, sir. When people don't want to work for you, don't settle for them. When people don't want to put in the effort for you, when people don't want to take their time out for you, when people don't want to make sure that they're ready for you, stop giving them chances. Stop lowering yourself down, dummying yourself down to meet their need, their qualifications, because they don't want to work for you. Stop accepting less, knowing your own worth. Stop saying, oh, well, I won't get chose because I'm so far up. No one's going to ever be able to come up and get me. Let me wiggle the branch. Let me fall down to the ground so that I can get chosen. Because I'm so far up, no one's ever going to be able to get here. That's what the enemy would tell us. That's a trick. Go ahead and remove yourself back down. Take yourself from where God has placed you all the way down so that any and everybody can have access to you. Stop thinking less of yourself. Stay where God put you. Because the one that is capable, the one that is deserving, and the one that will love and find value in you will climb that tree. He will. He will climb that tree, and you will both know instantly that he's the one. But if you've made yourself sink and fall to the bottom of the tree to be noticed. That means anybody can pick from your fruits. Anybody. And before long, you're going to be in the hands of someone you surely wished threw you back. It's real. Ladies, take your time. Gentlemen, take your time. There's something to be said when you take your time and when you wait on God and when you truly worked for something. When it's easy, why have it? Anything worth having is worth working for. I'd rather you stay at the top and wait for that right guy that knows you're worth it. And not only does he know you're worth it, he is so excited to have you. And he's going to take his time and he's going to make it up that tree. And then he's going to get you and he's going to be like, wow, look at what I got here. Oh, yeah, that's how you want to be treated. You want to be treated with respect and love. You want someone to come into your life and make it better, not make it feel or make you feel like you're just one of those rotten apples on the ground that nobody else wanted, that you should be lucky that they chose you. You don't want anyone to make you feel or treat you as you was just a rotten apple and they saved you. Huh? Saved me? No, ma'am. I might have been hanging on that tree. Oh, baby. But I was thriving. And after a while, that one little branch that was barely holding me, it's going to get stronger and stronger. And guess what? After a while, I'm going to be sitting pretty right up there with the other bright, beautiful apples. Let's just be mindful of who we are. No, we're not the rotten apples. And no, we shouldn't be treated as such. Let those guys that want to come through and pick from the bottom, you let them pick. You just make sure you're not one of them. You know, when people work for anything, they appreciate it. Remember that. So when you're too easy, you're probably not going to be appreciated because they don't find the value in you. So you value you. Don't be at the bottom of the tree, that low-hanging fruit. No, ma'am. You get yourself up there at the top of the tree and grow. And when that right person is ready for you, he'll make the effort. He'll climb for you, girl. And don't you dare come down until he does come up to meet you. Now, I know that was a whole lot of talking about the apples in the tree, but you guys know exactly what I mean. Don't you dare be low-hanging fruit, and don't you pick from low-hanging fruit. You make sure that everyone that comes to your garden knows that you are worth it. Go on, bro. Make the climb. All right, y'all. I see you in the next video. Like always, keep your heads up and your eyes open. It's rough out here in these streets. Good night.